Holy cow, my mind has been blown. There is something that isn't being taught in most churches and certainly not in schools. And I had this huge realization, and I'm going to be sharing it with you today on this video. Welcome back to another video. My name is Dom, and I help people to step into their truth and power. As many of you know, I have a morning routine that I follow pretty solidly, and it often happens that during or after my workout time, I receive these downloads of divine wisdom, or what I often refer to in layman's terms as holy shit aha moments. Well, every day this week during my workout, I have been receiving these downloads at such a fast pace that I actually had to stop every single day and begin writing and drawing on this whiteboard what I was receiving. Now, a part of what I'm sharing today is rooted in Christianity, which is what my faith system has been my whole entire life. Most of you know I've been a worship leader since I was 13 years old. And what I received in my download over these past few days has never ever been taught to me. In fact, it was such a monumental aha moment. I can't help but wonder, why am I 53 years old and just getting this? Why hasn't this been taught to me? Is that what I realized that unique, that few really know or understand it? Well, I don't know for sure. But what I do know is that I've been a worship leader for 40 years, and I've been to different churches and houses of worship all over. And this has never been taught. I've never heard this. And I really believe that the church is missing the boat here on this. Now, keep this in mind. I don't have a degree in theology, but what I do have is a love for God. And I don't believe I need to have a degree in theology to be able to powerfully serve others with what I'm experiencing and I'm sharing. I'm simply sharing with you what has been shown and revealed to me. If you take value from it, awesome. If not, that's fine too. Maybe share it with someone who you think might. But without further ado, let's just get right to it because I'm really excited. Yesterday, I was sharing in my video that there are 7 levels of energetic consciousness which relate to our emotions and how our emotions are actually emoted out into the world, thus creating and attracting the reality we are experiencing. If you want to know more about that, check out yesterday's video. Well, I had this huge realization about this that again, I want to share with you today. And if you are familiar with Christianity, you are likely familiar with the 7 fruits of the Spirit. They are love, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Well, the first aha moment I had was a vision of these words being placed across a shelf. Maybe you've seen those words that are made out of wood that people put on like the edge of shelves. Well, I saw those words lined up on the edge of a shelf in that order, right? Love, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And I noticed when I was looking at this that love and peace and gentleness and self-control are bookends. Bookends on the shelf holding space for all the books that are in the middle. I then realized how so many of us can easily demonstrate love and peace, but we struggle more with demonstrating gentleness and self-control. If the gentleness and self-control bookends are weak, what happens to the rest of the books on the bookshelf? They topple over and they fall off the shelf. Without gentleness and self-control, we lose patience, we lose kindness, we lose goodness, and we lose faithfulness. Yeah, isn't it true? Now, that realization is pretty awesome, right? But guess what? It didn't end there. I suddenly received another download in the middle of my workout. And this time, I received the 7 sins. I was reminded of the 7 deadly sins. And they are pride/vanity, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, anger, and sloth. And then I envisioned these words and noticed these words on the edge of a shelf. And I noticed the bookends there. Pride, vanity, and greed, and anger and sloth. Are you beginning to see what I am seeing? When I visualized those two shelves, one on top of the other, I was looking at the bookends and noticed that love is opposite of pride, vanity. Peace is opposite of greed. Gentleness is opposite of anger. And self-control is opposite of sloth. I was like, oh my God. And I'm seeing something that I never saw or realized or understood before about the 7 fruits of the Spirit or the 7 deadly sins. I'm seeing those bookends and how they relate to each other and how they relate to this chart, this illustration. Then the next morning I wake up and I'm doing my workout and I was like, bam, I got a third download. And this time it was like the 7 virtues of the Spirit, which are humility, giving, chastity, gratitude, temperance, patience, and diligence. Now I see those words lined up, sitting on the edge of the bookshelf. And I'm noticing the 2 words bookending that shelf, humility and giving, and patience and diligence. Now my mind is beginning to explode because what I realized was the 7 virtues are the path of how we move from experiencing the 7 deadly sins into the 7 fruits of the Spirit. The virtues are the path. Now my mind is like, holy shit, like literally, holy shit. I never saw this. I never understood this. I was never taught how these 3 things related to each other. I know about the 7 fruits of the Spirit. I know about the 7 deadly sins. I know about the 7 virtues. I've heard about them my entire life as a Christian. But what I never understood was how they related to each other. And that virtues was the path from one into the other. And so what I've learned about the 7 levels of energetic consciousness and what I've been practicing from this and discovering how amazing it all works is actually the illustration. This is the illustration of how we need to use the 7 virtues to move out of the 7 sins to experience the 7 fruits of the Spirit. I'm just so amazed by this. I keep asking myself, am I the only one that has ever made this connection between the 3? Because I've never heard this before. After asking that question, the 4th download today was the aha that when we put the 3 of these together, the 7 fruits of the Spirit, the 7 deadly sins, and the 7 virtues, it is 777. 777. And now my mind is like, seriously? Like, for real? Now we all know that 777 is considered a jackpot number, of course, in our society, but even more, it's the number 7 in Trinity. And in Christianity, the Trinity is the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and it signifies completion. Hence, God created the universe also in 7 days. And of course, there are many other 7 references in the Bible as well. In Hebrew, the word 7 translates to the word Shiva, which means wholeness or completeness in Hebrew. And then we have the oldest religion being practiced in the world right now, Hinduism, and the number 7 is considered to be a sacred number and translates to, I believe it's Sapta in Sanskrit, which means 7. And it's often used to represent the 7 days of the week, the 7 colors of the rainbow, and the 7 energy centers known as chakras. Like Christianity, Hinduism has many references to the number 7. And then, of course, there's astrology. 7 is significant because there are 7 planets in our solar system. Further, when you multiply the 3 7s together, it's 21. And so I had to look that up. And what I learned is in the Bible, 21 is a symbol of perfection and maturity. It symbolizes the divine wisdom, the mirror of eternal light, which pierces and penetrates all grace in its purity, which then reminded me that we're in the year 21 of the 2nd millennium. I'm like, holy freaking cow. Like, is this for real? Like, what are the chances of me even realizing this? And, I don't know. I don't believe there are any accidents or mistakes. I do believe we're each being led down a unique path on our journey. And when we pay attention and listen to where our heart is leading us, the timing of things like this happening are no mistake at all. I needed to see this at this point in time for some reason. And so I'm really curious. Were you aware of any of this at all? Because I certainly wasn't. And if you weren't, what has impacted you the most about what I just shared with you? I really want to know. Please share in the comments below. I feel like this is a particular area that the church has really fallen down hard on, at least from my experience. I can't believe I've been leading worship for 40 years and have been practicing Christianity my whole life, have gone to multiple churches, and have participated in so many different ministries, and I've never, not once, heard anyone put all this together like this to create this understanding. It's never been shared with me until now, when God revealed it to me in these downloads over the past few days, which I am so grateful for. I feel like I just had these hand tools before and they were upgraded to be power tools. It's awesome. It makes so much sense now. And so as I'm sharing this with you, I would really appreciate if you could share this with at least one other person who might also benefit from receiving this information. I find it fascinating. And for as active as I've been in church my whole life, I am absolutely sure there are others that need to hear and understand this. It's my intention to impact as many people as I can in sharing this info right now, because I believe this is what the world is needing. There are so many people hurting, and they need to become aware and learn this information. This energy consciousness chart and, this other stuff that we've probably, many of us have known since we were kids, but we just didn't understand this connection at all. And so I would really appreciate if you could take a moment to share it. So until I connect with you again for my next video, stay well, stay healthy, and stay empowered.